With September being a pretty packed month for new game releases, everybody looking forward to games like Borderlands 3, maybe you're looking forward to something like Ni no Kuni Remastered, a remastering of one of the best JRPGs released last generation. Maybe you're excited for Monster Hunter World Iceborne. Whatever the case may be, there are a lot of major game releases coming in September. However, there are also a ton of game releases that are going a little bit under the radar, and that's what I want to highlight in this video. Specifically, 6 awesome new PlayStation 4 games that are scheduled to be released in September that you probably don't know about. Without further ado, let's get right into it, and let's get started with a game that I'm not seeing a lot of people talk about, and that is Blasphemous. Blasphemous looks awesome. It's described as a punishing action platformer that combines the fast-paced, skilled combat of a hack-and-slash game with a deep and evocative narrative core delivered through exploration of a huge universe comprised of non-linear levels. Obviously, it's got a very old-school look to it, something a little bit resemblant of some games we've been seeing. I harken back to a game like Death's Gambit, and I definitely get a little bit of similarities here, especially with presentation style and the mature nature of the game. Do expect this to be a pretty gory game. It is designed in Metroidvania style, and there's actually a little bit of a background on the story as well. A foul curse has fallen upon the land and its inhabitants. It is simply known as the Miracle. Play as the Pendant One, a sole survivor of the massacre of the Silent Sorrow, trapped in an endless cycle of death and rebirth. It's down to you to free the world from this terrible fate and reach the origin of your anguish. Explore a nightmarish world of twisted religion and discover its many secrets hidden deep inside. Use devastating combos and brutal executions to smite the hordes of grotesque monsters and titanic bosses, all ready to rip you limb to limb. The game's world is non-linear, and you'll overcome fearsome enemies and deadly traps as you venture through a variety of vast and different landscapes and search for redemption in a dark gothic world. Brutal combat is here as well, and it's very gory, very bloody, and you'll have some pretty sick and stylish executions in the game as well, and quite a bit of customizability to round things out. Blasphemous is releasing in September, specifically on September 10th, and it's a game I think a lot of you guys should have on your radar. I don't know how this one's gonna turn out. We've seen a lot of games follow this Metroidvania style, and it's released right in between Monster Hunter World Iceborne and a Borderlands 3, so I think a lot of you guys are gonna be a little bit packed with your game playing time at that point. However, one to definitely keep an eye on, and at the very least see how it turns out and go from there. Next up, we have Kings of Lorn: The Fall of Ebris. This is another gory game, however, a little bit bigger budget in terms of presentation and graphical style. It is a violent action game, and it touts forsaken and betrayed by your order, fight back against the forces of a long-forgotten realm as you try to save existence from the evil of a usurper king in the pursuit of what lies beyond immortality. The world of Lara has fallen ill to an unstoppable plague, and as the King of Ebris, you, Farron, frantically seek a way to bring an end to your people's suffering in Enna, the kingdom above all kingdoms, and to rid your world of this illness once and for all. In the weakness of your disease, your Reginald Gulbard speaks to you a tale of hope, a way to purify the world by means of the spires and the extraordinary resources that await beyond the realm. The game's got a mysterious story full of isolation, an entrenching atmosphere, and first-person defensive gameplay, and there looks to be quite a little bit of a skill cap to the gameplay as well, with unpredictable enemies. Enemies have specific senses, some hear, some see, and explore of their own free will, so it also does look like a game with a little bit of replayability attached to it. Visually, it looks quite good, and if you do want more of a mature game, I think you're gonna find that here. Does look rather interesting, and it's another game that I hardly see anyone talk about, and at this point, it is scheduled for a release on September 9th, so we'll see how that one turns out as well. Next up, I do want to give a shout to Police Stories. This is a game that has really captivated me, and by the look of it, a lot of resemblances are being drawn to games such as Hotline Miami. However, it does tout that it's a fresh take on top-down shooters with an emphasis on tactics that forces you to make split-second decisions, neutralize criminals, rescue civilians, and defuse bombs in single-player mode or online co-op. And remember, shooting first is not an option, so that's where this game is rather interesting. As a police officer, there's a little bit of an interesting take to this game. Each mission tells a story of 2 police operatives, John Rhimes and Rick Jones, filled with infiltrating gang hideouts, rescuing hostages, making arrests, and other life-threatening situations. The game features a pretty unique surrender system that allows you to apprehend the suspects without resorting to violence, fire a warning shot near them, or engage them in melee combat. Those are just some of the ways you can make them submit. You'll issue commands to your fellow cop Rick Jones. Make sure to use them wisely, and who knows, he might just save your life. There's going to be quite a bit of replayability in this title as well, with randomly placed criminals, hostages, and evidence. And of course, as a law enforcement officer, you'll have access to the top of the line police equipment such as under the door cameras, door blast charges, and many others, so a lot of variety in the gameplay as well. And it rounds things out with complex tactical gameplay. Try not to get spotted, don't waste bullet, regularly check your surroundings, and make sure to take criminals down quietly. That's going to add an interesting layer to the game. I'm hoping for the best out of this one, as Police Stories is scheduled for a release on September 19th. Next up, here's a game that I'm personally really going to bat for because I really do want it to deliver, and that is Spiders' brand new open world RPG in GreedFall. Now, GreedFall is getting a little bit of heightened anticipation as we've been seeing more trailers, but I don't really think it's there to being one of the highly anticipated open world RPGs. I'm not necessarily saying buy this game on day one. What I am saying is definitely keep it on your radar. And this might be the game that puts Spiders as a studio on the map. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Spiders, and I really can't blame you for that, they've worked on some other RPGs such as Mars Warlogs and most recently the Technomancer. The Technomancer was a game that was kind of panned by critics. It has like a 56 on Metacritic, but I thought it had a pretty interesting premise. Yes, it wasn't a game that was worth a full $49.99 or $59.99 price point, but now you can find it readily available south of $14.99, and at that price, I really think it's worth it. I think it's actually on sale as a part of the PlayStation Store sale running right now. Nonetheless, GreedFall is their next major game, and it looks to be a very big budget open world RPG where you'll forge the destiny of a new world seeping with magic and filled with riches, lost secrets, and fantastic creatures. This is going to be a game with an incredible amount of choice to it, not only in decision making, in seeing how the story plays out, but also complete freedom in your character progression. You can play as male or female, customize your appearance, freely choose your abilities, spells, and skills. How you take the direction of your character is completely on you and the decisions you make. And also, how exactly you tackle gameplay is going to be a big element to this game. Is it going to be with diplomacy, deception, force? Become a part of this living, evolving world, influence its course, and shape your own story. And that story is there for you to shape, so that is going to offer a lot of replay value in this one as well. And that seems to be a reoccurring theme, but that's doubly so for a game like GreedFall with so much decision making. GreedFall is out September 10th, and whenever talking about the game, I do have to mention that it's sandwiched between the releases of two major RPGs and Monster Hunter World's expansion in Iceborne and Borderlands 3, so I do think that's going to hurt this game a little bit, but I do hope that some people give the time to it and at least follow along with it and see how the reviews turn out. Okay, next up, here's one that should have a lot of hype surrounding it and a lot of anticipation, but it was kind of announced for a release in September out of left field, and that is Final Fantasy VIII Remastered. Yes, I am inclined to mention this because the mega hit RPG in Final Fantasy VIII is returning. Now, saying FF8 is a mega hit might turn some people sideways just because Final Fantasy VIII by many people is considered to be the black sheep of the series. Final Fantasy VII was tremendous. Final Fantasy IX is considered to be tremendous, but Final Fantasy VIII was that game released in between. Some people really liked it, others not so much, and that's for a wide variety of reasons. Maybe it's the gameplay, maybe it's some of the storytelling elements. However, whatever the case may be, I still thought it was a very good JRPG. And this remastered version is going to feature multiple enhancements, including the following: battle assist options, HP, ATB gauge, and limit break boost, game speed boost times 3, so you can play the game a little bit faster. You can turn on the option for no random encounters, obtain all items and abilities, and pretty much make the game a little bit easier to play through if you do just want to experience the story. I did think Final Fantasy VIII, again, was a very good game, but maybe going into it, detach it from the Final Fantasy lineage and just play it as a brand new JRPG, and I do think it's going to turn out pretty well. Obviously, this was originally a PlayStation 1 game, and it's not like they're going all in and doing a Final Fantasy VII remake on this. It's just a remaster, but you can clearly tell the visuals have been upped, and it is being released at a $19.99 price point, which is definitely palatable. I think if they got any higher than that, if it was $30 or $40, God forbid, that would have been just a little bit too much, but at 20 bucks, I think it is going to be a pretty good pickup. And lastly, one final RPG to round things out, we have the dungeon crawler in Torchlight II. Now, Torchlight II was a game that released years ago on PC, all the way back in September of 2012, and around the time of this game's release, I thought Torchlight II was a tremendous game. Unfortunately, at this point, you do have offerings like Path of Exile and Diablo 3 that have just outpaced it a little bit, especially in the case of PoE. It's a free-to-play game, and if Torchlight 2 is released at $20, you could get Diablo 3 The Eternal Collection on sale for the same price. So from that standpoint, it's a little bit of a hard sell. However, if you have gotten your fix out of those games, which is kind of hard to believe given that you would have to have sunk a ton of hours into them, nonetheless, Torchlight 2 offers a quality experience in its own right. It's got a very charming art style, And there's a lot to like out of the game. It's an action RPG filled with epic battles, bountiful treasure, and a fully randomized world. Bring your friends along as well, and you can have a really good time with the game. And of course, Torchlight Frontier is coming out. That looks to be a little bit different than the traditional Torchlight games, but nonetheless, with Torchlight 2, it is a one to be on the lookout for. Maybe wait for a sale. I could see this one going on sale rather quickly, and I could see it getting a steep discount down to like $4.99 or $9.99 by, say, later in the fall, maybe Black Friday time, but nonetheless, Torchlight 2 will be out on September 3rd. And that is going to conclude this video. Again, September is bringing with it some big budget games. You've got Borderlands 3, Call of Duty Modern Warfare is getting a beta, Ghost Recon Breakpoint is getting a beta, Catherine Full Body, Ni no Kuni Remastered. So many major titles. However, I thought these 6 do deserve some attention, and you have AI the Somnium Files as well. I feel like that game does have a decent amount of attention surrounding it, so I didn't directly mention that in this video, but that is a game I'm incredibly excited for as well. Let us know if you're picking up any of these games, and sound off with all of your thoughts in the comments section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.